Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Alyssa Webb, Montana real estate mom in Billings, Montana. If you haven't visited my channel before, welcome. I talk about all things real estate and Billings related on this channel. So today I'm going to share with you some items that will definitely fail a home inspection. If you've seen some of my other videos, you've probably heard me say it's a seller's market, and that is very true here in Billings. Most buyers are still doing home inspections, however, so that doesn't mean your home can be in complete disarray. There's still some things that I think as a seller, you should make sure are in tip-top shape before you list your home. So first things first, the roof. This is really important, especially here in Billings. We get hail. If you live here, you know that we get hail, and we had a big storm back in 2018. So you want to make sure that your roof is in good shape, there's no current hail damage, and that if there was hail damage, that it's complete, the roof is done, and the insurance claim is all completed and closed so that the buyer's financing can go through. You want to make sure that the buyer can insure, your home that they are purchasing. So that is really important, and that goes for all things hail related. So siding, gutters, you want to have all of that stuff done, but roof, you want to make sure it's good. Now that doesn't mean it needs to be a brand new roof. An older roof is okay as long as it's in great shape. Okay, next, drainage issues. This is a big one, and I see this all the time on home inspection. I have been both on the buying and the selling side when it comes to drainage issues. So what am I talking about? I'm not just talking about how the rain comes down the gutters. I am talking about the grade away from the home. So negative grade is when, say, the house is here and the yard is here and it's sloping into the foundation. Over time, that's going to be a major problem. It can cause foundation problems, cracks, and you don't want that. So if you notice that your yard is not sloping away from your home, so you want it to slope this way, not this way, that's really important because a buyer doesn't want to buy a house with foundation issues or structural issues, and that's going to be my next thing. So drainage, just make sure that the gutters are away from the home and there is nothing flowing into the foundation of the home. Also, a note on drainage issues. This goes for driveways and concrete too. A good example of this is if your driveway is next to your home and the concrete is settling and it's kind of angled this way towards the house, that's not gonna fly either. That concrete might need to be dug up, removed, and poured nice and level so that it's not sloping towards the house. Okay, so faulty foundation and structural issues. This is huge for buyers, especially with certain types of financing. You can't have massive cracks in the foundation or any structural issues. So cracks in the foundation, that's common. I don't want that to scare you, especially around window wells in the basement, stress fractures. You do see those in door frames and near windows. That's super common. A hairline crack, fine, that's okay, that's normal, it happens over time. But something that's like half an inch big, those kind of cracks need attention, and a buyer could not get financing if the foundation is that cracked. So you might want to have a structural engineer take a look at it if that's the case in your home. Plumbing problems is also another big one. I know in certain areas of Billings, there are known sewage line issues. Sometimes, over time, tree roots, baby wipes are a big one. Those can clog sewage lines and can cause backups. So definitely check into that. Make sure all your plumbing is okay. Termites and pests. That is another item on home inspection that ultimately a buyer could get scared of and say, I don't know about purchasing this house. I don't see too much in termite damage here in Billings. However, pests, I have seen that in the attic here and there. It does get cold, and so sometimes you hear of like feces in the attic. So that is one example I've seen. But definitely take a look. Say if you have an unfinished basement and you're thinking about listing your house, maybe take a look around, see if you have any termite damage or anything that could scare a buyer off. Hidden mold. Now, mold, mildew, this is a huge conversation. And in Montana, there's actually a mold disclosure form that has to go with each transaction. It's required, and it's very important because mold and mildew pretty much can exist anywhere. I mean, have you ever had a bathroom where it's just like the mold pops up on the ceiling and it's like, oh, how do I get rid of that? It's super common in areas where there's moisture, like, you're taking a hot shower, it gets hot, and mold and mildew can happen. But if you have hidden mold, like if you know about it, first of all, I would recommend get it taken care of. But if you can't get it taken care of, it absolutely needs to be disclosed. It's super important because over time, mold can cause health issues. So if you do know of any mold, I would definitely recommend getting that taken care of. It can certainly scare a buyer off. Okay, another big one that I've seen both on the buying and selling side of a real estate transaction where the deal goes wrong is HVAC. Your furnace and your AC, are they in good working condition? Now, I think it's super important to get your furnace serviced every year. And sometimes over time, your air conditioning also needs servicing, especially after hailstorms. Sometimes those coils can get damaged. So if your furnace or your AC is not working properly, definitely have it checked out. It's one of the top things that buyers are going to ask for inspection repair. This next one is something that I didn't know about until I moved to Montana. Radon. So radon is a naturally occurring gas that comes out of the ground and over time can cause health issues. And I always recommend to my clients, if I am representing the buyer and they're doing a home inspection, to get a radon test during their home inspection. And what that test does is it reads the radon levels, produces an average, and if the number is above 4, then radon mitigation is recommended. So that's one of those things you wouldn't really know unless you got it tested, but radon can be one of those deal breakers that comes up on home inspection, so just be prepared for that if you see that coming through. If you're on the selling side and you see that coming through on the home inspection, usually they will want the seller to pay for a radon mitigation system. Faulty electrical is another item that would make a buyer want to walk. Faulty electrical can be a major safety hazard. I mean, it could cause a fire. So I'm talking here like knob and tube wiring that's currently being used. Or another thing that I've seen in different transactions is a Federal Pacific electrical panel. I don't know the full history on it, and I actually want to go Google it and look it up. But I've had home inspectors say, oh, Federal Pacific may want to have an electrician come out here and take a look at this electrical panel. So make sure that everything's looking good with your electrical. I just had to go look this up because I was just curious of the backstory. So basically, Federal Pacific was an electrical company in the 1980s that was doing some testing and was doing totally fraudulent stuff, covering it up and putting labels saying, oh, this is good, slapping a label on it, saying this is great, and basically lying about the testing. And so then they found out that the electrical panels were defective, and there was a whole case on this in the 1980s. And so basically, there's still a risk of a fire hazard if you have a Federal Pacific electrical panel. So my last item is just your house being poorly maintained or deferring the maintenance on your house. I mentioned earlier for your furnace to have that serviced every year. I feel that it's super important. Those are really high dollar expensive items that when they go bad, it's expensive to fix. So if you just pay a little bit of money every year to make sure that everything is still running good, then you won't have that big expensive fix when it goes bad. So just keeping your house in really good condition is really important. Sometimes buyers do focus on those small things. I always say to focus on the big, more expensive safety and hazardous items, but you never know. They might ask for the smaller maintenance items as well. I get calls and emails every week from sellers and buyers looking to move to or move from Billings, Montana. And I absolutely love to answer any questions that people have about the home buying process, the home selling process, or like all the stuff I just mentioned, inspection items. So if you have any questions, here's my contact information. You can reach me here anytime. Feel free to reach out, and make sure that you hit the subscribe button so that you're following along on my journey and all things real estate in Billings, Montana. Until next time, bye.